At the outset, I would like to thank Dr. Simon, who's my former student and colleague, who is now heading the department here. Dr. Aravind Nair, a colleague for over 3 decades. Dr. Paul Henry, and all the doctors, nurses, some patients who are assembled here for the World Diabetes Day. When I was an undergraduate student in Coimbatore Medical College, when I asked my teachers what are the aspects of treatment I need to know for me to be a competent physician, they told me, if you know how to treat tuberculosis, typhoid, cholera, malaria, lot of infectious diseases that were then the most common causes for admissions to hospitals, they said you would have covered 90% of medicine. Over the last 4 decades, the scene has changed upside down. You now know how to manage diabetes very well, how to keep blood pressure under control, and how to keep at bay the complications of these 2 major problems. And if you know how to counsel patients to maintain their ideal body weight, then you have covered nearly 90% of medicine. That is true. When I was a postgraduate student, Professor Sam G.P. Moses was then the professor of diabetology in Madras Medical College, took a clinic for us. He said diabetes is like a 3-legged stool. You know, you have a 3-legged stool. If one leg is gone, the stool is unstable. He said the 3 legs are: 1, proper nutrition, which some people call diet, it's better to call it nutrition. 2nd, regular and predictable physical activity. And the 3rd, of course, is medication. He said medication last. He said the first 2 things are far more important than medication. And truer words have never been said. If any one of these 3 aspects of diabetes care is deficient, the patient's diabetes gets out of control and you have problems. When I was working as a junior consultant in the Department of Medicine in Christian Medical College, Vellore, one of the nurses approached me with a thesis topic. They had to do a thesis if they had to get a PhD, so she came to me with a thesis topic. The topic was internal locus of control in diabetes. I did not know what it meant, so I went and looked up. Basically, it means that the person who is responsible for keeping diabetes under control is the patient. And it is important for the patient to recognize that. The patient must be in control of his diabetes, control of his situation. That is the internal locus of control. And after I looked it up, I went and said, it's a fantastic area, you go ahead and do it. And she studied 50 patients, and she found that only 2 out of the 50 patients actually had some concept that they had to be in control of the situation. Not the doctors, not the nurses, not the other professionals who are handling them, but they themselves. But how can you get a patient who does not know anything about diabetes become so knowledgeable that he or she can handle his or her own diabetes? How do you do that? That can only be done through patient education. So, diabetes management is 90% patient education. And I'm very glad that a number of nurse educators are here to help patients learn about their diabetes. It's a very, very important aspect of diabetes treatment. Doctors may spend some time with patients, they may explain broad things to them. But to help the patient to cope with their diabetes burden throughout the rest of their life, they are not require just a single point education, but they require continuing education. A continuing education throughout their lives to cope with various problems that emerge during their life. And that can be delivered very effectively through a team of dedicated nurse educators. When I've been practicing diabetes for about 30-40 years now, I now realize that I am learning from my patients. Because each diabetic is unique. No two diabetics are alike. There is no common formula for treating every diabetic. Each patient has his own lifestyle, his own commitments, his work, his home environment, and all these factors have an impact on his diabetes. And therefore, you need to know your patient inside out, and you also need to know what are the practical problems he faces and help him to the best extent you can to take care of his own diabetes. So time spent with patients, listening to them, listening very, very carefully to them, and addressing the specific issues that bother them, I think that is time very well spent. And diabetes educators are very well placed to deliver the goods. In order to get them to get to that level of proficiency, the diabetes educators themselves need continuing education. And that, I am sure, can be imparted in a very well-run department. So it's an ongoing process. Now, having said all that, there are a number of patients who come and ask me, they have been diagnosed for the first time with diabetes. They come and ask me, could I have avoided diabetes? Could I have prevented this from happening? There is good evidence now that you can prevent diabetes, particularly type 2 diabetes. Well, how do you do that? Basically, you need to know what is the correct body weight for your height and your body build. And you need to get to that weight and maintain that weight right through your life. If you are able to do that, then you can really postpone the onset of diabetes by several decades. This is actually very well demonstrated in clinical studies now. Aggressive lifestyle modification and acceptance of such lifestyle modification by patients can prevent diabetes occurring in people who have pre-diabetes, mild abnormalities of sugar, fasting blood sugar of some 110, postprandial of some 170. That is the first step. At that stage, if they adopt an aggressive lifestyle modification, they can prevent onset of diabetes for decades. Now, you all heard about bariatric surgery, right? The surgery that is done for people who are obese in order to help them to reduce weight. Bariatric surgery has very clearly demonstrated that obese people, even with diabetes, have a regression of diabetes once they are treated and once they achieve a reasonably normal body weight. So there is good evidence that aggressive lifestyle modification is something that really works. Now, these are preventive aspects to prevent you from getting diabetes. There is another prevention that is important in diabetes, which we call secondary prevention. You already have diabetes. Why should you aggressively treat and control diabetes? The reason is you want to prevent complications. After all, the complications of diabetes are what cause patients a lot of distress, and they also cause death. You can have a heart attack, you can have a stroke, you can have gangrene of the extremity and an amputation, you can have a whole lot of problems with your eyes, your kidneys. All these complications can be avoided to a large extent by strict control of diabetes. So that is secondary prevention. And the secondary preventive efforts are what are usually delivered by the hospitals. The primary prevention, that is at the community level, should be actually delivered through a system of dedicated community health workers who have small numbers of families under their care and educate them to adopt a good lifestyle. And now when you talk about lifestyle, the process should start in children. Now you all know that being overweight or getting obese is a common problem in our children, and it's a common problem also in adolescents, 15, 16-year-olds. What are the reasons? People have much less physical activity, particularly children. They spend a lot of time in front of the screen, whether it's a mobile phone or the laptop or the TV, and they are being fed unhealthy food. So, very simple. So, you need to teach mothers what is healthy food, and you need to make sure that children understand what is good for them, what is bad for them, and have a culture of having good food available at the home front, wherever you eat outside, and in schools and colleges. If you do that, you will be doing a great service in terms of preventing obesity and in terms of preventing diabetes. Now, I said secondary prevention is important for diabetics who already have established disease. Now, this is where this whole system of education of a diabetic to help him to cope with his diabetes is very important. And the correct approach would be an initial consultation, assessment, and prescription of medications that are likely to benefit him, and an ongoing process of follow-up. Now, this ongoing process of follow-up, if you want to empower the patient, you need to teach him how to use devices, which is what was shown here. The number of glucometers available, they're not very expensive, and it is something on which money spent is worthwhile. So, you need to encourage patients to monitor sugars frequently at home and maintain a diary. That will teach them how to take care of their diet and how to modify the dose of their medication, so that the dependence on hospitals actually comes down. So, diabetics should be coming to hospitals only for complication screening, maybe once in 6 months or once a year, and they should not be thronging hospitals all the time, which is what is happening now. So, you need to educate them to that level, and that is possible. Now, you may ask me, the glucometers are expensive, blood pressure monitors are expensive, how do we deliver it to the ordinary person in the village? Now, this is where we have been following a system by which volunteers from families, a group of families, are taught how to measure blood sugar with a glucometer, and they are taught how to check blood pressure and monitor it at home. So, a number of our diabetics whom we look after at Tirumala Mission Hospital, they actually have their services delivered at home through a system of family care volunteers and multipurpose health workers. And these people communicate the results to us, and we are able to help patients to modify the dose of their medication and keep their diabetes under good control. Now, this system is something that should be followed all over the country. I mean, we are saying we are the diabetes capital of the world. It's a sad thing, right? So, if you really want to do something about diabetes in this country, you need to have this system in place of community level monitoring, adjustment of dosage, ongoing education of diabetics all over the country. It cannot be just in one area. A group can set up a model, but for the whole country to follow this model and adopt it, it will take time. But that is where we are heading. If we don't do that, we are going to land up with a lot of patients who are not healthy, not productive, and who may actually succumb to their disease fairly early in life. And all these are avoidable things. It is very important that a diabetes team in a hospital such as this actually also takes an interest in what is happening all around in the community and set up models, so that this is something that can be, it is what we call a spoke and hub model. Okay, so you have peripheral areas where large numbers of people can be monitored, and you have a hub where the follow-up information is available, and you maintain electronic records for everyone. Then you find that there is a lot of good work that can be done and a lot of people who can be benefited. This will necessarily result in reduced crowds in hospitals. During COVID times, we all know crowding at hospitals is not a good thing, right? And therefore, it is good to set up a model like this so that patients do not come to hospitals and spend long hours there. And diabetics are vulnerable to infections, and hospitals are places where they can pick up infections. Therefore, this is something that is worth considering. The other thing that the pandemic has actually taught us is the value of telemedicine. it is quite possible for diabetics to have a consultation with the treating team, whether it is the diabetes educator or the nurse or the doctor. So on a telemedicine platform, they don't have to really come to the hospital. And a decision can be made as to what needs to be done at that level rather than the patient actually coming to hospital. So a number of visits to hospital can be avoided, and that is in the best interest of diabetics. I think I'll just touch upon very broadly what can be done in terms of diabetes in this country, and I am very sure that Narvi Hospital will take this forwards and will make a huge contribution to management of diabetes in Vellore town and surrounding villages. Thank you very much.